Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a journey, right? It starts way down in the gritty shadows of a totally unregulated market. And somehow, against all the odds, it climbs up to become this like certified legacy brand. That's the story we're really getting into today. The evolution of Jerett Wasserman, most people know him as J. Cures, and his, well, groundbreaking brand, West Coast Cure.
Yeah, and what's really captivating here, I think, isn't just the products themselves, though they're obviously key. It's the blueprint Jay Cures kind of created, how he navigated this constantly shifting industry, building a brand basically from scratch and always reinventing himself. We're going to dig into how he went from facing, serious legal trouble to becoming this figure people call a flavor engineer.
Right, like somebody who crafts these really unique cannabis profiles.
Exactly. And also a culture architect, someone shaping the whole scene, the lifestyle around the brand.
Absolutely. It's an amazing path. We're talking to kids selling weed in 8th grade, in Orange County, no less, to now a brand with hundreds of product SKUs on, literally thousands of shelves across the country. It's just packed with surprises, relentless drive, and just pure grit. Really defines building a legacy, I think.
So, okay, let's rewind. Let's go back to the start, way before West Coast Cure was, a household name for people in the know. We're talking J. Cure's earliest days. This is pre-2010. Like I said, 8th grade, Orange County, already making sales. Then jump forward a bit. He's 19. This is around 2008. He's at a full-on grow operation going in his dad's backyard.
Wildly.
And he's running a mobile setup, too, out of a trailer. Like all his gear in there, that's not just hustling early. That's building an empire. Sort of under the radar.
It really is. And, this period brings up a really important question, doesn't it? What kind of determination, what kind of risk calculation does it even take to build something like that back then? The environment was so unregulated, so high stakes.
Total prepare. Right. And yet he's laying the groundwork for a real business.
Yeah.
Brick by perilous brick, you could say. What you learn from someone like Jay Cures is it takes this almost like your rational belief in what you're doing, plus this incredible tolerance for legal ambiguity and just personal risks.
And those risks, they became very real very fast. In 2008, that trailer we mentioned, his mobile hub, raided by the cops, boom, first felony charge. But here's where you see his strategy emerge, something that pops up again and again. He stayed quiet, didn't say a word.
Smart move.
And crucially, the Pop brothers at law, they become really important later. They helped him out. He actually beat the case. It shows his drive, sure, but it's also a stark reminder of the legal minefield those early pioneers had to navigate.
Yeah, that's a critical point. It speaks to this unwavering commitment to his vision, believing in the market even when there was basically no legal framework, zero. And that determination, that pushes us into the next phase, around 2010 to 2012. This is where we see him trying to navigate these constantly shifting legal tides.
All right, so 2010 happens. Jerett spots this little opening, maybe, with California's Prop 215. For anyone maybe less familiar, that allowed for medical cannabis patient collectives. So he opens West Coast Cure as a patient co-op right there on Newport Boulevard.
Yeah.
He's actively trying to operate within the lines, or at least the very confusing lines that existed then.
Exactly. But the source material we looked at, it highlights this constant pressure from shifting legal tides. Even with Prop 215, the regulatory environment was, well, it wasn't a clear path, more like a moving target.
Yeah.
And this intense pressure, often from local authorities who maybe weren't thrilled about it, led to the co-op getting shut down. After only about a year. If you zoom out, it really shows the huge challenges entrepreneurs face. Trying to be legal in this rapidly changing, super uncertain landscape, there was just no solid ground, just shifting sand, really.
And what happens when one door closes?
Yeah.
Jay Cures shows us, right? You pivot hard. He switches gears fast, moves to a delivery service model.
Yeah.
But guess what? Again, more felony charges land on him.
Yeah.
And again, that same strategy clicks in. Silence. It saved him. And once more, the Pot brothers at law step in, help him navigate the legal mess.
It's pretty remarkable.
Isn't it? Think about the resilience needed. Multiple legal blows, multiple felonies, and you're still pushing forward with this business idea.
Yeah.
Most people would have just walked away.
Absolutely. Very few would have kept going with that kind of sheer determination. But that persistence, it brought him to this really pivotal moment, a real make or break point in his story.
And this next part, this is where things get really interesting. It takes this incredible turn. We're in 2012 now. Jerett takes this massive personal risk, a defining one. He uses his brothers, get this, entire life savings.
Wow. All of it.
All of it. To build a lab in his backyard. That's not just a gamble. That's betting literally everything on himself and his vision.
the audacity there. It's just compelling. And this profound belief in his product. And you know what? The payoff was almost instant. Just months later, his hardcore OG cake batter, it wins first place at High Times.
Huge.
Monumental for an independent guy, right?
Yeah.
It signals this undeniable quality. Even the most respected judges in the industry had to recognize it. Does that quick rise after all those setbacks, does that surprise you at all?
It absolutely does. To bounce back like that, from serious legal heat to top-tier recognition so fast, it suggests this incredibly sharp pivot, maybe a rededication to the actual craft. It really speaks volumes about the quality he could produce, even under immense pressure.
Yeah.
And the recognition, it didn't stop there. By 2013, his product was so iconic, Wiz Khalifa himself rapped about it. The line was, "Hardcore OG looking like some cake batter."
Yeah.
Think about that. And a specific product, a specific texture, put into a rap lyric forever.
Part of the culture.
It really makes you ask, right, how does an independent brand get that kind of recognition?
Yeah.
So embedded in pop culture, in lyrics, lungs, festival lineups, without the giant marketing budgets.
Yeah. The key takeaway has to be the undeniable power of authentic product quality and that organic cultural fit. J. Cure's wasn't just, marketing to the culture. In a lot of ways, he was the culture. He built this groundswell, demand, loyalty. Money just couldn't buy that. It shot his brand from underground buzz to mainstream awareness.
That cultural hit really launched him. And you see how he built on it. Very deliberate, intentional branding. Which brings us to this idea of cured by design. You see the look, black and gold. You see a bold crown. That logo, J. Cure's, built West Coast Cure on these core ideas, flavor, consistency, and hustle. It wasn't just the weed, it was the whole vibe, the whole experience.
And he was a real pioneer in how he presented the product, too. He was the first one to package weed in a tuna can.
The tuna can, yeah.
It sounds maybe a bit odd now, but back then, brilliant. It was about freshness, sure, but also about creating this instantly different, recognizable look. It just set his brand apart immediately in what was becoming, a pretty crowded, albeit still illicit market. That simple, practical idea became this powerful branding move.
And he didn't stop there, but he expanded. Key products like Curejoints Curepens, always with that laser focus on reliability, on the user getting a good experience. The source notes specifically, no glass tips, just Curejoints and Curepens that hit every time. It's about delivering consistency, quality you could count on every single time.
His strategy also perfectly captured what the source calls this loud onstage, quiet in court idea. West Coast Cure was super visible. You'd see them at big events, Rolling Loud green rooms, Coachella domes, a really powerful public presence woven right into the culture.
Totally integrated.
Yeah. And connecting that to the bigger picture, it shows this masterful balancing act. On one hand, this high-impact, front-facing brand building. On the other, strategic, quiet, behind-the-scenes, legal maneuvering, scaling up distribution. He was like a public figure, a tastemaker, and a really shrewd operator dealing with all the legal complexities all at once.
Exactly. He lived that never-not branding approach. He ran West Coast Cure almost like a label. Constant merch drops, cool collaborations, event rollouts, always fresh cuts. It's that founder mindset, rapper moves thing. He really had one foot in the grow, the other in the culture. Deeply authentic to the product, but totally immersed in the lifestyle, too.
Yeah.
For other entrepreneurs listening, what's the lesson there from that relentless focus on branding and culture?
I think what's crucial is understanding that a brand isn't just a logo or, what you sell. It's really an extension of a lifestyle, a community, an ethos. J. Cure has cultivated that because he lived it. He made sure West Coast Cure resonated so deeply with the culture that it felt organic, like part of it, not something just pushed onto it. It's about authenticity, consistency, and really, really understanding your audience, turning customers into actual fans, advocates.
Yeah, that's a great insight. And that deep cultural root takes us to the next big chapter, right? Cementing his status as legacy certified, but going legit, moving into the legal market. So by 2019, the whole landscape has shifted again dramatically. And J. Cure's makes the big move. Takes West Coast Cure fully legal. The source calls him a strain hunter. By nature, always looking for the best genetics, the best product. And his vision was described as no vertical, all vision. What does that mean? He didn't feel he needed to control every single step, grow, process, sell. Instead, he focused hard on what he did best, crafting amazing products and building that powerful brand.
That transition, though, going from illicit to regulated, it's incredibly complex, much harder than just, getting a license. Like, oh, the source even says it was the same pressure, just a new market,
Hmm.
which raises a key question, I think. What challenges stick around even when you're legal? And how do
Right.
you adapt your whole vision, your operations to meet these new rules, new competitors? It's not just about being legal, it's a complete business transformation, needs a different kind of agility, a different strategy.
And clearly, he nailed that transformation. West Coast Cure today, their product range is huge, covers almost everything, from carts to hash, edibles to vapes. He's not just playing in the legal market, he's leading across the board.
And that's exactly what locks in his status as legacy certified. Think about it. 15 years deep in this game, hundreds of different products, thousands of stores, and amazingly, it's still the same crown on every bag, that consistent identity, that quality promise. He didn't just ride the wave of legalization or trends, he created the wave. He became really a blueprint for legacy done right in an industry that's still, super young and changing constantly. When you think about an industry like this, still evolving so fast, how do you build something lasting? What makes a true pioneer? His story gives us a pretty powerful answer. Vision, grit, adaptability.
What we've unpacked today. It's just this powerful story of vision and pure, unadulterated hustle. From those wild early days, 8th grade in OC, dodging felonies, taking huge personal risks, to building West Coast Cure into this major legal player. Jake Cure's journey is just, wow, remarkable. His resilience, his smart branding, those strategic pivots, they didn't just build a business, they shaped a whole culture.
Yeah, and if you connect it to the bigger picture, Jerett Wasserman's story, it's about more than just business, right? It's about defining a culture. It's about navigating these immense, often hostile risks and constantly adapting without losing who you are, your core values. It just vividly shows how a deeply personal belief system, that relentless commitment to quality and culture, can actually shape and push an entire industry forward.
And he has this philosophy he lives by, one that kind of sums it all up. His spirit, his journey, that rebellious spark. Don't drink and drive, smoke and fly. It's bold, right? Reflects not just his path, but maybe the kind of freedom he was carving out for a whole community.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What does that provocative line truly reveal about his journey? Yeah, but also the values he stands for, the kind of freedom he was trying to cultivate. Not just for himself, but for this whole evolving industry he played such a huge part in shaping. It really speaks to chasing personal freedom, maybe an alternative way of looking at things, deeply tied to the culture he built.
So think about that. What does it really take to create your own wave? To define your own way?
Yeah.
And build something that lasts against some pretty incredible odds? That's definitely something to chew on long after this deep dive ends.